Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great edition of the Van Buren Variety Show. I'm Bob Van Buren, your host. Always glad you're here. Those of you that are in live chat right now, welcome. And those of you that are watching this much later, glad you're tuning in too. If you're not a subscriber yet, just want to make a reminder. If you like the show, make sure you hit that like button. That really helps. And if you're not a subscriber, there is that subscribe button and you'll get updates, topics on future guests. And so we'd love to see you become a regular. Just as a reminder, I am on the air once a week. So, but again, I've told you a few episodes ago that might be changing. For example, I had 2 episodes last week. Got some musical entertainment that I'm working on. So if you want variety, you're on the right channel. So I hope you've all had a great week. I wish I could say I had. To be very summarize it, the Reader's Digest version, I did have a health scare last week. Blood pressure shot way up. Thought it was good to go to an urgent care. Glad I did. It was through the roof, but no worries. Well, I won't say no worries, but they did an EKG. They did blood work. They did a CAT scan while I was there. No problem. But for now, I am on blood pressure medicine. And so, don't like it, but hey, as long as it keeps the pressure down, I'm okay. I got a sleep study coming up. And even though there's nothing wrong with my heart, they want me to go to a heart specialist anyway, just as a precaution. So the sleep study looks like I'm going to be on a CPAP. So, yeah, it's getting older. That's all I'm going to say. But that's not the only part of it, though. I want everybody to really pay attention, because if you're really concerned about your health and maybe not have the health scare that I did last week, probably a lot of it, not all of it, but some of it could be caused by a person's weight. And there is a reason why on my shows you only see me here from the chest up. Yeah, I've got the little gut going here. I'm not proud of that, but I am working out since the scare. I've been watching what I eat, lowering my portions, cutting out all the junk food. Off camera, you can't see it, but I've just bought a treadmill that I get on 30 minutes a day. And I'm trying to watch my weight, be a little more responsible with my health. And the goal is to lose weight, of course, to get off the CPAP machine that I'm about to have to start. And number 3, get rid of the blood pressure medicine for sure. So I've got some personal goals myself. So tonight's special is about that, your health, getting rid of the gut. And I have 2 guests tonight that's going to tell us, and not only you, the audience, are going to be learning tonight. I too am going to be taking this all in because of my scare last week. This is something that I think is really, really important to me, and I'm sure it will be important to you too. So without further delay, let me bring my guest on tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to David and Carla Meine. Welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. As you heard my opening monologue, I have some health issues. Other people may have health issues and may eventually have health issues if they don't watch their weight, their gut, and their health overall. So kind of tell us a little bit about y'all's profession, what you're into, and how you're helping other people.
Well, I think we should start with David's story of his health, and then we can talk about what we did to reverse his health.
Absolutely. Love to hear it.
So what's interesting for Carla and I is we didn't realize that the American diet was killing me. I mean, literally killing me. We both had an unbelievable scare in 2015. I got cancer. I was very fortunate. It's bladder cancer. Ended up with a symptom that I had no idea had anything to do with it, but I had blood in my urine. Like I went 3 months in a row with 1 day each month with blood in my urine. And then in April of 2015, I filled up a mason jar, quart jar. I had been bleeding for 3 days, and I put it on the counter. And my wife walked in. I said, "Hey, Carla, is this something I should be concerned about?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh!
Panicking.
Get to the Instacare." And so I went down to the Instacare, and I had lots of. I was super sick arthritis and bronchitis and pneumonia, and I just had lots of health issues. But that, we were faced with something very scary. Got into a urologist.
Mm-hmm.
Urologist did a scope, was in my bladder, and I start hearing him count 1, 2, 3, and there was 3 good-sized tumors that were embedded in the bladder wall.
Oh, no.
And just by the minute luck, they hadn't gone through the bladder wall into my cavity.
Wow.
And if so, you and I wouldn't be here with my wife today. And so over 2 years, I had 21 tumors grow. I ended up with 3 surgeries, 2 rounds of chemo. And that was the beginning of, we needed to really look at why my immune system was compromised, because I just had so many problems. Mm-hmm. And then I had this amazing caretaker.
That helps.
So what we do at I'm a certified functional nutrition counselor, and what we do is help people find the foods that are inflaming their body. So that's different for everybody.
Sure.
There's some, we know, sugar, for example. We know sugar causes inflammation in everybody. And it's what's called an anti-nutrient. It actually takes more nutrients out of your body than it provides, because it's so processed, and everything, all the good that was even in sugar is gone. And so we know processed foods. So the bulk of the processed foods are causing inflammation. But other people can even have nuts that are causing inflammation. And there are people that can have, dairy products that are causing inflammation. So what we do is at Eating to Live is we help people determine, through an elimination protocol, we get their inflammation down. We take out all these foods that are potentially causing inflammation. We get them out of their diet. And then once their body's no longer inflamed, the immune system can do its job, and it starts healing you from the things like you're dealing with, your blood pressure. Mm-hmm. Even David's even gotten off his CPAP machine, BiPAP machine.
Oh, that's great.
I was on a BiPAP machine.
Yeah. So it helps. And then we reintroduce the foods a little at a time and see which foods are causing issues. And most people can tell, either they have skin issues, indigestion, bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation. They have brain fog. They have, so most people can figure out, oh, this is why I don't feel good. Because once we get the inflammation out, they start feeling good. Then they reintroduce a food that their body doesn't like, and they go, oh, this is the food that's causing me grief. So that's what we do. That's what we teach.
That sounds really good. Again, I'm going to be enjoying this interview really as much as my audience is. And I agree with what you just said, especially about the processed food. I have to say, I'm going to confess to the world, I haven't been watching my weight very well, and I have gained a few pounds, and I have been eating hamburgers, pizzas, soft drinks, even unsweet tea. It still got caffeine to it. Knew it wasn't good, but I just, something quick. And on top of that, I had anxiety, which I know caused a lot of people to overeat, and me too. So,
right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing y'all's products and your books. And so, anything y'all can give us.
What's interesting is when you remove inflammatory foods from your diet, your anxiety will actually go down too. So it's interesting. It's a chicken and the egg thing. People like, oh, I'm so anxious or depressed, and so I eat, and that causes more depression and more anxiety, because the foods that you're actually eating are not healing. They're actually making your body more inflamed. So your immune system is even working harder and harder and harder. And pretty soon it can't work anymore. And that's when you have disease and you have health crises like what we've dealt with. So it's really important for people to get the standard American diet, those processed foods out of their system, so that the inflammation goes down, and they'll watch their depression. The people that I've worked with say, I can't believe the difference in how I'm feeling. I can't believe the difference in my memory ability. So it's really important for people to get the inflammation out of their body.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I've already taken some steps. That scare thing that I had made a believer out of me. So I've cut out fast food. And like I was telling David earlier, I drink nothing but water all day long. So
Good. Perfect.
trying to cut and even cut down on my portions. So let's talk about kind of what I talked about in my monologue. Like I said, you see me here up for a reason. I got the gut like a lot of people do. So let's talk about the gut. One of my questions is, why is the gut so vital to our overall health?
So one of the things that I would like to share is in March of 2020, Carla and I got locked down 60 days with the COVID crisis.
Oh, no.
And so for us, it was very, very difficult. We've worked super hard on our immune systems of what we learned. And so one day, Carla and I were talking and we just said, at that time, my health had improved dramatically. I was in remission with my cancer, remission with my arthritis. I was in remission with my peripheral neuropathy. My memory was improving because my brain fog was going away. And so we decided that we ought to write a book. And Carla said, well, David, why don't you start writing this book about your health journey? And so we thought, well, if we write this book, maybe we can connect all these dots on my health. So Carla decided that while I was going to write the book, she'd go back to school and get certified as a functional nutrition counselor. And what we found out through this journey that started in May of 2018 is that I had what's called a leaky gut. And I'll let Carla kind of go through what a leaky gut is, why it does that. But when we started learning that I had that, and as we were writing the book, I mean, these ahas were coming left and right, and it became easier and easier for me to stick to, commitments, or what I call coming up with a why, this passionate reason why I was going to fix this leaky gut and overcome my compromised immune system.
So what happens is in your gut. So when your question was, why is this so important? Inside your gut is what's called villi, and they are, for lack of a better description in our schooling, they compared to them as shag carpeting. So there's these little fingers that are protecting that wall of your small intestine. And as food goes in there, then the food, they pull the nutrients from that food, and those nutrients go through that wall into your bloodstream. And then the food goes down and heads to the large intestine, and you expel it. Well, what happens in a leaky gut is that villi gets shaved down because you've abused it with foods that you shouldn't be eating. Most processed foods, the body doesn't even recognize as food. They've changed it so much. So it shaves that down, and eventually you get what's called the leaky gut, where there's openings that are in that wall. So what's getting into the bloodstream is actually food particles and toxins, things that should not be in your bloodstream. So as soon as those things hit the bloodstream, the immune system goes on high alert. One doctor I follow calls it, it's like the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. They come in, the immune system's got all of these things that it comes in and starts attacking these food particles because they're not supposed to be there. And pretty soon it's almost like attacking itself because it's shooting up these food particles. And in the process, some of your, organs like your thyroid, people that have Hashimoto's and things like that get shot up too in the process. And so that gut wall is critical to maintaining health, because there's a blood-brain barrier connection. So you can have mental issues because of your leaky gut. You can have all kinds of physical, everything from just eczema and psoriasis, acne, to cancer, everything along the spectrum. So that's why it's so important to heal the leaky gut and then maintain it so that your body functions optimally.
Absolutely. You mentioned, y'all both mentioned your book. I'd like to bring that up for my audience. I have a copy of the cover here. So it's called Eating to Live, Unlocking the Leaky Gut Code. Looks very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it myself. So I'll go ahead and put it out there now. If somebody wanted to buy this book, where would you suggest they go?
Well, we have it on Amazon, so they can get it as a paperback on Amazon. It was just released on Audible, so if people like to listen to books, this book is there. We spent 18 months writing the book, published it finally in September. It was an international bestseller on Amazon for the Kindle. And then now, after it took us 90 hours of recording, my wife and I decided to narrate the book in September. And so now it just got released on Audible, which we're super excited about. And you can get also on Audible, not only there, but it's also being released on iTunes. And we also have it, if cost is a concern for people, they can go to our website and download a free copy of the ebook.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that because we live in a fast-paced world, so I know a lot of people probably would appreciate the audio too. I'm kind of old school. I like the paper. I like to hold it in my hand.
Me too.
I just aged myself, I know, by saying that, but well, I want to ask you. You kind of mentioned about your cancer, David. What were some medicines that you were on? Have you been able to eliminate any medicines? I mean, both of y'all. That's a question for both. If y'all have on medication.
So in 1999, with my peripheral neuropathy in my feet, I don't know if you've heard of neuropathy, but there's a diabetic neuropathy, there's a peripheral neuropathy. And what's interesting about both of those is that you can either get numbness in your feet and hands, or you can get, in my case, my feet were on fire. It's just like there's a blowtorch. And it just creates a lot of pain. I couldn't sleep at night with a sheet on my feet. I couldn't have anything touching my feet.
Oh, no.
So I started on a very serious medication in 1999 called Lyrica. And then the doctors added another medicine, Cymbalta. Over the years, I've had 3 major back surgeries. So I was on since the early, 1994, 95. I started on Loratab because of the pain. And I was on duloxetine because of a swollen prostate and another drug. And then I was on 5 over-the-counter medicines, so ibuprofen, naproxen. I was taking Tums, Prilosec, all kinds of things for my stomach because I had been diagnosed with colitis and Crohn's and all kinds of health issues. And then, of course, all the antibiotics for bronchitis, and I had pneumonia every year. And so that all just added up. And so what's fantastic, when we wrote the epilogue in May of 2021, I had gotten off every single medication. I take no over-the-counter.
That's great.
Take no other medications. And I was on a pain level, even with all those medications, I was suffering with a pain level of 8 to 10 every day, even taking all that medication.
Oh, I'm so glad you've recovered. I mean, that is a success story, and it should be a litmus test for the rest of us, to take care of our health and not ignore, what we put in our bodies, for sure.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'd like to bring up really quick. Let's see. Let me bring that up. Your website. Let me show that to our audience here. Tell us about your website. If they was to go to your website, what would they see, or what would they be here?
So one of the things that Carla and I worked really hard on is we wanted to come up with an e-learning platform, right? So we wrote our book, and we're hoping in the first 14 chapters that people can relate to my health crisis and health journey and how we connected these dots.
Yeah.
The last 10 chapters of the book, Carla got inspired and came up with levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So she prepared meal plans. She prepared food lists. She prepared all these things. And then in each chapter, we came up with lifestyle changes, like the foundation of health is sleep. So what we did on our website is we created, one of the very first things people can do is they can go and take a test. Doesn't cost anything. They can do a simple, takes 15 seconds to 30 seconds. They fill out this questionnaire and they can get back a score that will tell them if they have a leaky gut or not.
Could possibly have
A leaky gut. And then there's a video that they can watch based on their score that will tell them, you know, what the situation is and what the possibility is. And so we created this whole e-learning platform so that people can go in and step by step, Carla takes them through how they can first off see if they have a leaky gut, and then how they can heal that leaky gut. And it's pretty fantastic. Then we created a journal, because one of the key things, Bob, is you've got to journal. And so I remember when Carla was going through the course, she had me do a paper journal. And we've now since created a app that you can go and get on iPhone or Android, and you can log your food, your pain, your bowel movements. You can log all these things and get, but I want to tell you a really funny story. Is that okay?
Oh, the more the merrier, please.
Okay. So we're doing, Carla says, I need you to do this journal as we were going through improving my health, and I need it for school. And it was called a food, mood, poop journal.
I like that. Yeah. Very original.
Yeah, it was. And so I was logging every day the food I was eating, what my pain levels were, and then what my bowel movements. Now, in the old days, for me, I didn't have a bowel movement I'd have one every 3 to 4 days. And I thought that was normal, very painful. And you're supposed to have one every single day.
Sure.
So, at least one.
At least one a day. And she'll talk more about that. But I'm doing this journal, and one day, I've been doing it for months, and one day I told Carla, man, I don't feel good. I've got diarrhea. I'm in a lot of pain. And she says, where's your journal? I want to see your journal. So she goes to my journal, and she goes back 2 days, and she sees that I had been up fly fishing. And on the way back, it was an hour drive home. On the way back, I stopped at this famous called Dairy Keen, Keen. And I got one of my favorite shakes. It was a German chocolate shake.
Oh, you're making me hungry.
Oh, and Carla goes, David, you know that you can't have this sugar in your dairy. You have issues with dairy. Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. And Carla will talk about how most people can't remember what they ate 1 day, 2 days ago, and they don't know why they're not feeling well or why they're in pain. And that's why journaling is so critical as you go through these levels that she's created for you to figure out how you can take back control of your health.
That's a great idea. I like the journaling because, you know, what you just said, David, I agree. If you was to ask me, what did you have for lunch 2 days ago? Well, when was the last time you went to the bathroom? I didn't really time that, you know. So, I'd like to hear more about that, Carla, about the journal.
It's critical because what we learn from looking at our bowel movements tells us if what we're eating our body likes or doesn't like. And usually, like you said, you know, lunch 2 days ago, maybe you remember one or two things, but you may not remember every single thing.
No.
I'll give you an example. I have one of my clients who started with level 1. So that's the elimination protocol. And she started adding foods back in. She had psoriasis. So she had bleeding, cracked skin, and all of it went away when she went on the elimination protocol, and she was really happy. And so she started adding the foods back in. When she added peanuts, she just broke out. Now she's in her 50s and she's been able to eat peanuts her whole life. And she's like, why all of a sudden can't I eat peanuts? And I said, you have a leaky gut. Now the peanuts are getting in and the body's saying, nope, nope. And so she breaks out. Then gluten. She said, I've always been able to eat gluten. I said, can't now because your body can't handle it anymore. So those are foods that you've been eating all your life. And all of a sudden, certain foods are now making you sick and you have to get rid of them. You have to get them out of your system.
And that's because your small intestine that she used to have a shag carpet that protect, right, your bloodstream has now a Berber and has these cracks or these junctions in it that's letting the peanuts and letting gluten, in my case, the sugars and different things into your system and is compromising your immune system, and the body can't deal with it.
Absolutely. I've also heard it said that, while exercise is good, that your diet should not begin to start there, because and I'm not giving a percentage, but I think it's a larger percent of what you eat than what you exercise. For example,
Yeah, most people say you can't exercise away a terrible diet. Like you're terrible eating, you just can't exercise away it.
I've heard it said, actually, I think it was from y'all on your website. It says, and I like this, it says sustainable weight loss begins and ends in the gut.
Yep. It's true. What's interesting is, as David followed this protocol, he wasn't trying to lose weight. His issues were, he was trying to feel good. That's all he was going for, was feeling good. And he lost 25 pounds, and it was just because the body did a right size. The body said, you know what? This is the weight you're supposed to be at. And when you feed me the foods that I really like, I will reward you with the size of body that you should have. We call it, you're the scientist and your body is the lab experiment. And you need to experiment on the foods to find out which foods your body likes and doesn't like. And your body will tell you if you pay attention.
I've heard that told, and I have not done this, but I've heard of people that they really, when they go to the grocery store and they look at either canned foods or boxed food, whatever, they look at the labels, sodium intake, calories, saturated fat. Is that important to do too as well? Would you agree with that?
Well, what we focus on are the ingredients. So, for example, we give you a food list, and each level has things that we've added to it, so you can try other foods, additional foods. But in that food list, we say, for example, oils. We want you to use good oils, so not vegetable oil, not hydrogenated oils, not oils that are man-made and your body doesn't recognize as food, but avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil. So if you look and the third ingredient is hydrogenated oil, then don't get it because it's not good for you. So we say, look at the sugars and everything they call sugar. There's a lot of things on there that are sugars that they don't call sugars. So we say, look at the ingredients. And the bulk of the things that we're recommending are things that whole meats, whole food, whole grains, whole vegetables, whole fruits, things that come from the ground. We're going to say these are the best things for you. And if you get a packaged food, you better look at the ingredients on it, because there might be something in there that's going to cause you grief.
Hey, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Did you know that the food industry, through the current labeling, nutritional facts panel, they get to hide sugar? Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
I did a paper in 2014, and there was a study done on how much sugar the average American consumed. And what's interesting, in 1805, the Americans at that time, their average consumption was 5 pounds a year, and most of that was fructose and fruit, right? 2010, a study came out, and the average American now consumes 130 pounds of sugar.
Mostly processed
sugar.
No.
So, and what's happened is, when you look at a label and you go down and you're reading, protein and all the different things, and you get down to where it says carbohydrates, fiber, and then it shows sugars.
It's added sugars.
That's added sugars, but they get to hide in the carbohydrate formula. They get to hide sugar. So what happens is, if you take those carbs, let's say there's 30 grams of carbs. Now, you got to remember, when they show everything, that's for one serving. So in a box of cereal, there's a lot of servings in a box of cereal. So you look at that, and if it says 30 grams of carbs and 1 gram of fiber, you minus that fiber from the carbohydrates, which gives you 29. And then to figure out how many teaspoons of sugar in that, you divide it by 4. So You take that,
Oh,
and there
wow.
are a little over 7 teaspoons in sugar in addition to the 6 grams of added sugar. So us as Americans,
Oh, no.
we don't even realize how much sugar we're consuming, which is causing inflammation in our body, which is causing obesity, heart disease, diabetes. I mean, we
Yep.
can go down the list. And that's why when we started the show, what did I say? The American diet was literally killing me. And that's why I got 21 tumors over 2 years, was because we didn't understand and realize all of the sugar that I was consuming.
Wow. In fact, we have a comment from the audience that just kind of reiterated what you both just said. Batmom says, I've been lied to. I can't believe my food now. Oh.
It's true.
It's so true.
Yep.
So
it is true. You have been lied to. When they came out with the no fat, low fat, that's what's killing us. That's what they did, is put more sugar in the food to make it taste good, because they pulled out all the fat and then they put in all these massive amounts of sugar. And really, the sugar is what's killing us. The good fat has never been a problem. We need good fat in our diet. That's how our brains work. That's how a lot of our organs work. It needs the good fat. Bad fat is bad for us.
sure.
But the sugar is really, truly what's killing us.
Let me kind of give you an example here. I've always heard avocados were good for you, but I heard they're high in fat. Is that a true or untrue statement?
It's true, but they're good fat. They're
That's
good
very
fat.
good fat.
Yeah.
I have an avocado every day.
You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to have massive amounts of it, but you can eat avocados, and they're also very filling. They satiate you. They will help you actually lose weight, even though they have a lot of fat in them. It's the good fat.
So
I've been buying avocados.
Good.
That's great. I noticed that your comment was from Bat Mom.
Mhm.
I'd like to just speak to your moms that
Okay,
are
she's
on
here.
the show.
There's
Let me
quite a
just-
few of them here, so go
Let me
ahead.
share. I was just on a health, wellness, and wealth show last week as a speaker. And one of the things that's scary, I was in 1999 also diagnosed as having ADHD.
Oh, no.
And one of the things that's interesting is, since I was a little kid, my parents filled me with sugar because, in the 50s and 60s, that's just kind of what the
they
American
did.
diet was, right?
Yeah.
Snickers and Hostess Ding Dongs and Twinkies and
Soft
big
drinks.
soft drinks. And I was a Coca-Cola fan. And I
Okay.
don't want to disparage these brands and disparage these things, but the challenge is that I had unruly behavior. And so there's 3 things that is a big struggle for moms today. And if your kids are hyper, they could have ADD or ADHD or autism. And what's happening is that sugar, one of the things that the studies that we're looking at is really messing with our kids' learning ability. Because one of the things is that inflammation in the body is messing with their sleep, is messing with their brain. Their brains, if they don't get the foundation of what we call sleep, good sleep every night, their poor little brains are inflamed and they can't shrink and get the toxins out. And so what's interesting in these studies, when they get these kids that have leaky gut or have these sugar issues and they get them down off of it, their behavior changes dramatically and their learning goes off the charts, and their ability to learn and retain information. Carla, one of her biggest things that she was discouraged with me starting about 2014, our kids started coming to us and they were coming to Carla and saying, "What's wrong with Dad? Does he have the beginning of dementia?" You remember that, dear?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So, he would repeat himself. He would say, somebody would talk to him about something and he'd say, "We've never talked about this." And they go, "Yeah, Dad, we talked about it the other day." And they were just really concerned. And so once he got the inflammation out of his body, his brain fog went away. And he actually has a better memory than I do now. I mean, it's remarkable how much his memory has improved since we got the inflammation out of his body.
Oh, That's good news. That gives me hope.
Yep.
I know it gives my audience hope too.
Yep. Exactly.
And that would be my question. I guess be a personal question, but also from my audience as well. I mean, I would like to learn more from you, your book and everything. So I think I might have said before the show, but I'll say it again. My goal is to get off the blood pressure pill where I don't need it.
Yeah.
I want to get off this CPAP, and I want to lose this right here. So follow these guidelines.
You have some pretty good whys, and that's what we talk about in the book. David does a really good job in the beginning of the second part of the book, talking about finding a strong why, because unless you have a really strong why, you'll stop in a couple of weeks. You'll give it a good try for a couple of weeks, but you won't stay with it unless you have a strong why.
Well, and you shared with me on the pre-show how kind of discouraged you were this morning because your weight you'd been losing weight. And your weight this morning was the same as it was yesterday.
It plateaued, for today.
You had a plateau for today, and you're like, oh my gosh, and people do that. They like we teach, healthy weight loss is 4 pounds a month. And we've helped people lose 50 pounds, 200 pounds, and that's over 6 months to 2 years. And so the key about your why that's so strong. So one of the things, Carla and I blended 2 families 20 years ago. She had 3 boys. I had 3 girls and a boy. And so we blended this family together. We now have 18 grandkids. And my number one why, thank you. My number one why, and this might seem odd to you, but the number one overarching why over all my health and everything we do is that at 95 years old, I want to have our 50th anniversary, and I want to be lucid. I want to know who she is. I want to get on the dance floor, be able to dance with her, and have this amazing thing. And so, the key for us now, Bob, is that we don't want to grow older, because when you use that term grow older, it's kind of negative because we kind of accept all these health issues and arthritis and all these problems. Carla and our whole thing that we focus on is we want to live longer with optimal health.
That's a great, and I said that's a good why and a good goal, too.
Yep.
And that's what my goal is too. And so, I said losing the gut obviously would be what everybody wants to. Are you healthy?
Yep.
You're losing weight. You're feeling better about yourself. You're getting more energy, and I have to say that's my. I guess you could say that's my why.
Yep.
Well, and we have another kind of a little why. We're all of us are concerned about COVID right now.
Absolutely.
Right? I started off that we were locked down in COVID, and our big thing that we've been working on is building our immune system. So Carla and we've been working with a world famous doctor that has changed his practice to restorative medicine. And he's had us get on some supplements like D3 and, to build, our immune systems. And so one of the things that's so scary about COVID, and it's so scary about a lot of people, is that they don't realize that they have a compromised immune system. That compromised immune system is from inflammation in the body, and that inflammation could be caused by a leaky gut. And so, our focus, especially every day, is we've got all these different things out there. H1N1, right, was big. Bird flu. We've got COVID. Now we've got the variants of COVID, MU, and all these different things. They're not going to stop. All right. That's just life. These viruses have been around. They're going to continue to mutate and grow. And so the key is to build your immune system. Both Carla and I this year in 2021, back in February, we both got sick. And I had the kind of like the flu, and Carla had kind of like a cold, kind of a 2-day thing. And so, we didn't go get tested. We just thought, we had these kind of illnesses. It's the only time we've been sick pretty much the whole year. And we happened to be doing what's called a DEXA body scan. And that's where you lay down and they scan your body to tell you what your bone density, what your muscle density, what your visceral fat is.
Sure.
Your subcutaneous fat, what you can pinch around your body. Well, we noticed while we were doing that you could get a test that would tell you if you've had COVID and if you had the antibodies. So we decided to pay and have the test done. And lo and behold, we both have had COVID and we have the antibodies.
Wow.
And so by working so hard on our immune systems, we blew through COVID with no big deal.
That's great. Oh, that's a prayer come true for sure.
For sure. And that's really what we're about. We're trying to help people understand this is about helping you feel better and
Absolutely.
build your immune system. So when stuff comes along, it's not going to say you're not going to get it. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is you'll give your body the best chance to fight it on its own. That's what we want you to do, is to have your body be able to fight it.
And that's what we all need.
Yeah.
I got a couple of comments from the live chat I'd like to share with y'all.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about earlier where you couldn't remember conversations? You were kind of
Yep.
your mouth fuzzy. And I think you kind of showed Bat Mom. She says, "Oh my God, my kid said that too. I literally don't remember conversations. I just thought it was from trauma, but may not necessarily be true, correct?"
May not. Now, if you've had some head trauma, at some point you could have had a brain injury years ago and still have inflammation on the brain. So the same thing that we do for the body to get rid of the inflammation actually helps get rid of inflammation on the brain. And so even if you've had some trauma, and even if you've had an injury, a brain injury, there's some things you can do by eliminating the inflammatory foods from your diet that will not only take the inflammation out of your gut and your body, but it will also take the inflammation out of your brain. And that's why the brain fog lifts, is because you get the inflammation out of your brain too.
One thing we've left out, Bob, kind of in this conversation is it's not just sugar or gluten. Each individual, if you'll notice, the third title in our book is A Customized Journey to Optimal Health.
That's yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So the one thing that we want everybody to understand is that we're not doctors. So we're not prescribing. So any advice or things you hear on the show, make sure you run it by your doctor. But the thing that's so critical is that you could have a food sensitivity. So the reason that Carla does this elimination protocol is, like, for me, we were thinking eating salmon 3 times a week was great. Well, guess what? That's a food sensitivity. So salmon was getting through my leaky gut into my bloodstream and causing really bad issues for me.
Oh,
I had certain nuts that I had no clue of, pecans, macadamia nuts, which I love, but I have food sensitivities to those. Carla doesn't. She can eat salmon. She can eat that. But I can do spinach. She has a food sensitivity to spinach.
Oh no.
So with her leaky gut, which she's healed, she couldn't do spinach. So that's why you've got to do this protocol, follow through, is to figure out for your body, your DNA, what foods and things and beverages are causing you to have this inflammation in your body.
Absolutely.
And brain. Body and brain.
I got another comment here, and we talked about food so far, but one of my other guests, our audience, made a comment. Let's see what you think about this. That's not it. Oh, Kathleen. She says she takes all kinds of vitamins and supplements. What's your opinion on that?
So through my nutrition certification, we talked about supplementation, that we wanted to take people from deficiency to sufficiency. So that the idea is most people are depleted in vitamins, for sure. Vitamin D3. Almost every person that has any health issues or problems, and even people that don't, need more vitamin D3.
D3. Okay.
Yep, D3. That's almost a given. Most people need to supplement with C, and most people need to supplement with zinc, and magnesium's another good one. But just like all the food is, you have to figure out which things you're deficient in. And most regular blood work from your healthcare provider can let you know some of your deficiencies. Most people are deficient in fish oil, the good oil. They need to take fish oil. now it's in pill form and it's not too bad. You can get it down. You used to have to, swallow it in liquid form, and it was pretty bad. So it's interesting that the doctor we go to that David was referring to said that he used to think all supplements did was cause expensive urine. And that was kind of held by a lot of doctors. And now he has blood work to prove that that is just not true. He has people's blood work, and he does blood work on a regular 3 to 6 month basis on these people. And he's giving them supplements, and he's watching their body heal. He's watching the inflammation leave. He's watching everything get better. So he no longer believes that it makes for expensive urine. He believes that it now gets assimilated in the body and gets utilized and helps to heal the leaky gut.
And the great thing for your people on your show is that the vitamins that we take, we buy at Costco.
They're over the
because
counter.
It's the best value.
Yeah.
Really?
We're not getting expensive stuff.
Nope.
It's working great. So, but everybody, same thing, has to figure out which vitamins they're deficient in and which vitamins they need. We give in the book some suggestions for the ones that the majority of my clients are deficient in. So most likely they're deficient in that too. And then we say from there, you need to go get your blood work done and see what else you need. We totally believe in supplements.
Absolutely.
So that'd be a good start then. I mean, like a person go to their doctor,
get
some blood work. They can find out what's all in the blood, if they're high on some, low on some, what they're deficient in some. So, so that's a good rule of thumb. And what y'all mentioned it earlier. So I would tell my audience watching this, go to your doctor, go get the blood work. Go see what your doctor said, because, doctor would know the best of all. But I want to ask you a little bit more about the book, because I'm very, very intrigued. Might have asked at the very beginning, but in case we have any latecomers here, if people are interested in buying this, where can they get it?
So it's on Amazon.
You
can get there as a paperback. You can go to our website and buy it in paperback. We just released it on Audible. So if they like to listen to books, they can get on Audible. It's supposed to be released this week on iTunes if they're on the iTunes platform. We also, for those that are on a budget, we have it. If you go to our website, you can download the book in an ebook, and it's free. And also, they can take a test and a little quiz and see if they have a leaky gut potentially.
Eatingtolive.com. That's it.
That's it.
That's great. What do you see, just in y'all's experience, what do you see just overall mistakes people make when they want to go on a diet, or they want to eat healthy, or they want to do you see anything that people do wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm probably going to fall in that trap. So I need y'all's advice.
I think what the biggest thing is, people try to do too much too quickly, and then they crash and burn. And that doesn't work long term. And everything we're talking about looking at your health down the road, years from now, making an impact on your health years from now. So we give a lot of tips in our book, but what we want you to do is take a few of them and say, this is something I can do right now. This is something I can commit to, and start there, and then build on it as you get stronger. I mean, we've been on this journey for several years, healing David's leaky gut and reversing his health and putting everything in remission. It wasn't overnight. And everybody wants a magic pill. Everybody wants I want the weight gone. I want to feel good right now. And it's a long-term process. But take something you can do right now. Start with why. We like to start with, come up with a good why, because that's gonna drive everything else. And then work on a couple of things. Sleep being one that's really critical. I'm glad to hear you're getting that taken care of, because that's a huge one. Get a good night's sleep. That will make a big difference. Start by eliminating some foods that are just the worst offenders. You don't need to eliminate them all. We'd love for you to go on level 1, but maybe it's just too much. So just start with something that you can say, I can do this for now, and then go to the next thing and go to the next thing and add things on, and don't try to do too much too quickly, because most people quit after 2 weeks to 3 weeks. That's about the average.
So
So
Bob,
what you're saying, baby steps, basically.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
and Bob shared with me that, and one of the pillars you talk about, he started 4 days ago, and that is he's just
Drinking
gone
more
to water.
Yeah, that's a big one.
All I have is water.
Almost every client I have does not drink enough water. And it's funny, when I ask them how much water they drink, they say, I know I'm not drinking enough, but I do drink this, this, and this. And I said, that doesn't count. Only water. I want to know how much water you're drinking. They'll say, well, maybe 25 ounces. And they're a person that's a bigger person that should be drinking 100 ounces, because you should be at least minimum drinking half your weight in ounces. That's the minimum amount. So someone who's 200 pounds should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day, and they're drinking 20. But I have coffee and I have tea, and none of that counts. Especially soda. Those are a diuretic. Those all have caffeine. They're a diuretic. They're the opposite.
I've gotten rid of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're well on your way just in that alone. That's a big step.
Well, I got two more. I actually got a good comment and a good question. So let me
Okay.
say this, and y'all have really influenced Bat Mom. She's already saying, I'm waiting for the email. I already signed up.
Oh, great.
You already got somebody. Great for you, Bat Mom.
That's awesome.
And then a question from Kathleen. Maybe you can answer this. She says, what causes severe heartburn? How can I get rid of it?
It's the same thing. Heartburn's caused by eating foods that your body doesn't like. So you have to figure out through the elimination protocol, you figure out what those foods are. And then you have to decide, am I willing to give those foods up? And I can't answer what it is for you because it's different for everybody. Mine was caused by spinach. I mean, my gosh,
wow.
you think the healthiest thing I could be eating, I was eating it 3 times a day, and I couldn't figure out why I was having gas and indigestion. And I was like, what is it? I'm eating healthy. It turns out it was the spinach. I quit eating spinach, gone. It's gone. Now, all the other greens I eat doesn't give me a problem at all. It was just the spinach. So whatever you're eating that is causing your indigestion, you have to figure out what that is, and you have to be the scientist, and your body's the lab experiment, and you take it out of your diet.
And I've got to make this point here.
Okay.
Is that what I did for years and years and years, decades, is I went to the go-to, what we get educated is get on Pepto-Bismol, get on Tums, get on Rolaids, take all these Prilosec, all these things. Antacids, which actually do the opposite. And I'll let her talk about it, but I just want to make a point is that when you do that stuff, you're not solving the problem. You're just making the problem worse. You're trying to cover it up, and you just keep eating and drinking the wrong things. And what I was telling you, in your 20s and 30s,
you can get away with it.
You can get away with it. And then you hit your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and then you have this huge health crisis, and you've got a huge effort, to get your goals. You're realistically, it's going to take a year or two. I've been on this path for almost 4 years to where I am literally a walking miracle.
We really thought he wasn't going to be here.
She thought she was going to be a widow.
Yep.
Talk to him about
people take antacids. What's interesting is through my schooling, most of the time you need more enzymes. You need actually more acid to help whatever the food is that's causing you grief. So you're actually doing the opposite thing of what you need to be doing. But it really comes down to finding the food that's inflaming your body. That you got to get rid of that food, whatever it is for you.
Absolutely. Well, Carla, David, I don't have any more questions. Did y'all have anything you wanted to add about your book or your website or any words? I mean, like I said, looking, I've really, this show has really touched me because of my health crisis. And I've recognized even before that I need to do something about my weight and my appearance. And so I really appreciate you being on. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate you inviting us on your show.
You're welcome.
As you can tell, we're very passionate about helping other people achieve what we've achieved. Like I was telling you before, we want to live longer with optimal health, and we'll do, we just love that you've brought us on, that you were able to say, here's what I'm dealing with, and you're being honest with your audience, you're being honest with us, and we're so grateful that we're all on the same journey.
Yeah, it's just really important for us to help other people achieve their optimal health. That's different for everybody. You got genetics that play a role. You have what you've already done to your health that plays a role. But we can tell people, if you do these things, you will improve wherever you're at. You will get better.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. I want to show one more graphic that you had sent me. It's time that we eating to live. I love that. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of eating, gorging, being anxiety. I really like that saying, y'all. So
instead of living to eat, it's eating to live.
But here's a thing that your audience will find is Carla has spent the time and has built 108 recipes. Majority of them are gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free. She's got amazing desserts. So she now serves these amazing desserts that are, sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. And we don't tell people anymore, and they eat them and they're like, oh my gosh, this tastes so great. And it's a chocolate pudding that's the base is avocado and with dark chocolate. And she makes these super healthy desserts that are on our website that are free. People can go there and just look at our healthy recipes. And I eat like a king. And people are like, you don't get to eat, gluten. You don't get to eat bread. You don't get to eat your big favorite bear claw with dripping, ice glaze all over it. And so, I eat amazing, and my health is amazing.
It is.
Got another question. You're talking about the recipe. Got another question. She wants to know, are there pictures with the recipes?
Yes, most of them have pictures. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So and also Jean said, so a cookbook is coming. All right.
I don't know. That sounds like too much work. I like putting it on the website. I like putting it up there. I think more and more people are just getting used to putting it on the website.
And they can download it. They click on the recipe, and then you can hit download and print the recipe or put it on your phone or whatever. We sure appreciate the time we could spend with you tonight.
I do too, David, Carla. Again, I like to stay in touch with y'all because that way I can let you know what my weight is.
Yes.
Yep.
Make sure I stay on track. So, well, looks like we lost David and Carla, but hopefully, I think you can't. Internet connections, what can you do at the last minute? So anyway, that'll be all for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I really did. And again, just so if you're concerned, what I said in my open monologue, I am feeling better. The blood pressure medicine seems to be working well. It's back down to normal. I'm taking some other steps to help my health. I've got a treadmill now. I'm drinking lots more water. And so hopefully with David and Carla's advice and their website and their book, I can start kind of feeling a little bit better about myself. And so what would you say? If I keep losing weight, you're going to see less of me? Okay, that was supposed to be a joke. Ha, 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 ha. But with that note, I'll let you go. I won't torture you anymore. So just a reminder, please like and subscribe to this button. That way you'll know more about what's coming up, and you'll see what interesting topics are coming back. So this is Bob Van Buren for the Van Buren Variety Show. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.